Hi, I'm Carla. This is Jess. Thanks for joining us today. Today's class is just a short little sequence to warm up the hips and get the hips mobile. So thank you for joining us. We'll start the class just seated in a cross-legged position. Let the knees and the thighs settle down. If you need to take some height to sit on, then have a few blankets so that you can get a lift of the lower part of the sacrum and a nice extension up through the spine. In Svastikasana, just going to allow the knees to quietly settle down, keep the spine lifted and the chest well open, and bring the hands together in the prayer position. On an exhalation, close your eyes. Keep the spine tall and the chest lifted and well opened. As you close your eyes, just bring a softness to the face. Relax the shoulders. Just be here with your breath, taking these few moments to bring your focus to your body on the mat, to bring yourself fully to your practice this morning. We'll begin with the 3 Oms. On the next breath in, just lift the spine up tall, and as you exhale, drop your chin down. Take a moment here to salute the divinity within. When you're ready, just release your hands into your lap, lift your head up, and let the eyes gently open. In the Svastikasana pose, we're just going to come to a gentle twist. So turning to the right first, take your left hand to hold onto the right knee, right hand behind you, and you're coming to a twist. As you twist, you want to keep the extension of the spine, the lift and openness of the chest. And just use your breath for a few moments. As you inhale, you keep the lift of the spine. As you exhale, you're twisting, but you're also bringing the shoulder blades into the body and keeping the top shoulder away from the ears. On an exhalation, come back to center, and we're twisting to the left. The right hand gets a nice grip on that left knee to help pull you around, to help bring this right shoulder around. And the left arm, you can also move it back towards the right buttock so that you move this left shoulder back a little bit more. After a few breaths there, just release, come back to center, and we're extending forward. So keep the buttocks grounded. At first, just take the fingertips in front of the shins. In this position, lift the chest, get a length in the front body, the abdominal region. And as you walk your hands forward, you settle that length of the abdomen onto the lap. Let there be quietness in the head as you settle down. Just let the back here be softly rounded. And then in your own time, walking the hands back. We'll come to change the cross of the legs. So we always take the one cross that's instinctive for us. With the opposite cross, there might be a feeling of a little bit awkwardness. So take a moment to settle down. Having the hands either on the knees, like Jess has got them, can help to lift the chest. You can also put the hands next to you to get that extension of the sides of the body so that they fingertips and the arms act like scaffolding to get that extension. Each exhalation, you settle the thighs down. Each inhalation, you extend the spine up. Try to keep the back of the head in line with the sacrum. And then with this alignment of the crown of the head and the perineum, you're going to turn on that central axis to the right. Once you've turned to the right, keep moving that right hand towards the left buttock. If you have long arms and you have a decent enough twist, you can even take this hand into the groin there, the front, holding onto the top thigh. And to give this side of the chest a little bit more openness by turning this left hand, you roll the bicep and give a little bit more openness to the right side of the chest. left side of the chest. Turn to face over the right shoulder. Keep breathing. Although it's a softer breath, squeeze that abdomen as you exhale, turn, and then release, come back to center. Be in the center position where you feel everything's kind of getting back to alignment. Then when you're ready, lifting and extending the spine tall, exhale, turn on the exhalation. Each inhalation, you're going to find that openness in the chest, extend the spine a little bit more. And with each exhalation, you're going deeper and deeper. If you can sneak this left hand onto that right thigh, and then turn the right hand so that you really get an openness and you're really using those arms to encourage this deep twist. From here, and you've been here for a few breaths, you'll release back to the center. Coming to our forward fold. So again, just line yourself up again and extend yourself forward. As you extend yourself forward, you're lengthening the sides of the body. But once you're there, also press into the hands and make sure that you're able to ground the buttocks back and down. Let the head rest. If the head doesn't rest and you plan on holding this pose for any length of time, just be sure that you do take some support for the head. Walking the hands back, coming to the upright position. We're now going to make our way to Baddha Konasana. Baddha Konasana, we're going to sit on support. If you take a folded blanket and you fold it so that there's a nice little peak, you're going to put that peak at an angle and you're sitting with your buttock bones on the blanket, and these two lines, neat edges of the folded blanket, should line up with the crease between the upper thigh and the buttock. So when you bring the feet together for Baddha Konasana, they line up with the center of your body. And now you should feel that the blanket is supporting the buttock, but the top thigh is free. Whereas when you've got the blanket lengthways, the thigh touches. In Baddha Konasana, if you're unable to hold your feet like Jess is holding, you can take a strap around the feet, and then by holding onto the strap, it gives you just a little bit more length and lift for the spine. If you don't need it, obviously don't take it. Now, as you lift up the front body, each exhalation, see, can you settle the knees down? The inhalations, you want to open up, not just to lift up, but also broaden across the collarbones and take these front shoulders back. As the front shoulders go back, you bring the shoulder blades into the body. Baddha Konasana, you keep lifting the spine, but you keep grounding the legs down. The knees are attempting to get down to the floor. In Baddha Konasana, you want to keep that lift of the abdomen back to the spine. So as you pull yourself up, don't allow the abdomen to just protrude forward. Draw the abdomen back to the spine. Keep that lift and openness in the chest. As you pull the abdomen back to the spine, keep the buttocks and the thighs descending. In Baddha Konasana, there's an openness from the inner groin, you roll to the outer thigh, and the calf also rolls out, so you can open the space between the calf and the inner thigh to create a bit of space for the knee to open up more. In Baddha Konasana, we do something called the Mula Bandha. Mula Bandha is holding the muscles of the pelvic floor. So when you draw up the abdomen, also draw up the muscles of the pelvic floor, and make sure you're not doing that by holding the breath. So you hold those muscles, exhale, let go. Inhale, feel that firmness, that grip. Exhale, soften the shoulders. And now we're going to come to Agni Stambhasana. Agni Stambhasana is the fire log pose or the log stacking pose. What you're going to do is bring one leg to stack directly on top of the other. So you'll put your left leg on top of your right leg. Your left foot goes on top of your right knee. Your right foot goes on top of your left. Sometimes if your hips are very, very tight, you might end up being somewhere like this. You need to just take time to let this gap slowly close, keep exhaling and releasing. And eventually over time, that rotation that you had in Baddha Konasana of the inner thigh rolling to the outer thigh, work on that to see, can we descend the outer thighs? Can we descend the knees? Agni Stambhasana is tough on the hips. Make sure you're not taking any strain on your knees. And if your knees are down and you want to work a little bit more intensely, you can pop your elbows onto your knees and then even come forward into the forward fold. Often what happens is this foot will slide and you tend to come to a more open cross. Keep the knee over the foot over the knee. Feel that lovely stretch in the hip region, the glute region. When you've been there for a few breaths, you'll come up. You can extend the legs in Dandasana if that's helpful for you to quieten the knees and the hips for a moment. And when your legs have relaxed, bring the right leg, left leg underneath and the right leg on top. I'm doing the other way. Keep the foot stacked on the knee. The shins shouldn't be moving in towards the body like a cross-legged position. You want to bring them out so that they absolutely stack on top of each other. Be here for a few breaths, letting that rotation take the knee down. When you're ready, pressing to encourage that knee to descend a little bit more. Work gently, listen to your body, don't force it and just yank it hard. Let the pose just eventually over time develop. Agni Stambhasana, very, very good for the hips, but do be cautious of your knees. And when you're ready, release the legs in Dandasana, extend them out, soften the hip region, let the knees just relax. And we're coming to standing in Tadasana. Our first pose today is Vrikshasana. Vrikshasana, of course, is the tree pose. If you do struggle with balance, you're welcome to take the support of the wall. You're going to come to the wall first, place your foot up. When you feel balanced, you'll come away from the wall and see if you can balance in the full pose. Right, so come to stand in Tadasana. Feet are together. Your knees are drawn up. The first Tadasana, when you're preparing to go into a pose, you want to already engage the whole body. So you're locking the elbows and stretching the arms. The knees are firm, so hug those muscles of the knees. Press the heels into the floor. Feel how the thighs lift. And then keeping an openness in your chest, you soften the shoulders, the top shoulder, and relax the neck and the throat. We're going to bring the fingertips, we're going to bring the foot up. So we'll balance on the right side first, bend up the left leg, and you're placing the left foot right on that right inner thigh. If you don't get the leg right up and the foot keeps slipping down, please don't keep it at your knee, rather just balanced here. Here, you want to move the left buttock in and move the left knee back. You want to keep the hips level, so keep controlling that right thigh back. And then also where the left foot bullies the right hip and the right hip sticks out, you want to stand firm and bring that right hip in to meet the foot. When you're balanced and ready, you extend the arms up into Urdhva Namaskarasana. In Urdhva Namaskarasana, the palms are together. If you cannot keep them together, take the hands shoulder distance apart. You keep breathing, keep focused, keep still. And when you've been here for a few breaths and you're ready to come down, let go the hands, release the leg down. And here, just be in Tadasana for a few breaths. Find your breath, find your quietness. Prepare in Tadasana. And then right leg, hook it onto the top of the left thigh. You're like me and you got a little bit of padding, it's really convenient because you can hook the foot right in there. The right buttock comes in and you want to swing the right knee back. So when you come into the pose, the bum is not sticking out. You're bringing an alignment of the buttock and the knee. When you've been there for a few breaths, stand tall on that left leg and in your own time, extend the arms up, either with the palms together, hands apart. With the palms together, you might feel like you're squeezing your head. Just be there, soften the gaze, don't stare and harden. And when you've been there for a few breaths, very good balance, Jess, well done. Release into Tadasana. Balance is something you need to work on. So if you're falling all over the place, take the support of the wall and just, it will develop over time. Coming to the middle of your mat, we're coming to Trikonasana. Trikonasana is the triangle pose. So fingertips to the chest, and you'll either step or jump the feet apart. Once your hands and your legs are apart, make sure that the legs are wide enough. Not everybody's proportions are the same, but generally from about the wrist, the ankle should be balanced over. We're going to go to the right side first. So the same external rotation you had in Baddha Konasana. Roll from the right inner thigh to the outer thigh to take that right leg all the way out. This right knee should point to the right. So this right outer thigh and buttock have to cut back. Keep the left leg strong, shoulders relaxed. Exhale, and as you go over to the right, move that right hip to the left. Get lovely length on this right side of the body. Your arms come perpendicular to the floor, and the legs stay absolutely firm and straight as they are. As with Vrikshasana, you want to bring this right buttock in and open the hips from the right to the left. Take this left thigh back. Trikonasana is a beautiful basic pose. You can open, spread yourself, breathe here. If you do tire in the pose, if you're a beginner, you're welcome to keep that top elbow bent. At any time, take your hands down, absolutely acceptable. When you're ready to come in, engage this left arm. As you breathe in, imagine that the chest is becoming so full and buoyant to take you up lightly. Turn the feet. You can take your hands onto your hips in between and just make sure that your feet are aligned. And then when you're ready, we're going to go to Trikonasana to the left. So extending the arms, keep the shoulders relaxed, the hands at eye level. Nice strong legs, especially this back right leg. And when you've turned the left leg, go over to the left leg. You want to line yourself up over that left thigh. So it's as if you're between two pieces of glass. This left buttock comes in, the right thigh moves back so that the pelvis turns and everything lines up. Remember to breathe. Each inhalation, feel that you're extending the spine and opening up the chest. And as you exhale, you soften the top shoulder, any areas of tension, and you firm up the legs. Jess is looking up at the top hand, which is the classic position. If you have a neck issue, you can keep your head just in line with the spine facing forward. And if that's uncomfortable for you, even turning down to the floor is perfectly acceptable. When you're ready, you're going to, again, strong right arm, reach into that right arm as you lift, turn the feet and bring the feet together in Tadasana. We're coming now to Parsvakonasana. Parsvakonasana is the side angle pose. If you're a beginner, you might not be able to reach the floor, which is where blocks are quite handy. But for the first pose, we'll do it with the hand on the or elbow on the knee to give you an idea of a beginner variation. So feet are wide again for Parsvakonasana. Fingertips to the chest, either step or jump the feet nice and wide. If you're using a block, it is behind the ankle. And again, we're preparing to go into it the same way as Trikonasana, turning the whole right leg out, right from the root of the thigh. As you exhale, you bend this right knee to a 90 degree, and then bring your elbow onto your right knee. This top hand can either stay in the waist as a beginner, or generally we take it over the head. So now, here, you're using this elbow to keep the knee back. It's much easier to keep the buttock in. Classically, you also want to look up past your upper arm if your neck allows it. And each time you exhale, descend so that you're bringing that right leg into a 90 degree. Each time you inhale, open up this left thigh. When you're ready to come up, you're going to inhale and reach that left arm up to come up. And now we'll go to the full classic pose. So stay with the legs turned to the right. Hands are in line with the shoulders. Exhale, bend the knee, and in one smooth movement, take the hand behind the knee onto the block. Again, the top hand can stay on the waist if you prefer. If this block is too high and you have the capacity to go further down, you just keep dropping the block. If you don't need the block at all, you get rid of the block. You do want the right buttock to descend so that this right thigh is perpendicular to the floor, and this right knee keeps pressing against the left arm. When you're ready, again, nice strong breath in, straighten up the leg as you come up, turn the feet, If you are a beginner and standing poses are quite taxing for you, then absolutely come to Tadasana in between. But if you're ready to go to the next side, we'll prepare 2 poses to the left, Pajvakonasana. Turn the whole left leg right from the root of the thigh. So you want this external rotation. You want the knee to point all the way to the left foot. Left buttock stays pinned in. Extend the arms. And as you exhale, bend the left leg. When you bend the left leg, remember to keep this left leg, this right leg strong. Outer right foot down. Come over the bent knee, elbow on the knee, top hand either in the waist or over. The idea here is when your body instinctively wants to kind of turn to the floor and you are moving into the hip area, bringing that left buttock in, rolling that right thigh back, opening the abdomen. Breathe. When you've been there for a few breaths and you're ready to come up, remember, press into that left foot, engage that right arm, come up. Take this heel slightly out. And now exhale, Pajvakonasana to your brick. When you bend the knee, bend that thigh so it's parallel to the floor. When you're bending the knee, if you haven't taken enough distance between the legs and your knee is way past the ankle or not quite bent, try to get that nice 90-degree bend where this whole knee joint is balanced over the ankle joint. There's stability here. You're trying to relax the toes and move the knee towards the arm. When you're ready, straightening up, breathe into that right arm. Turn the feet and bring your feet together in Tadasana. Tadasana after a pose gives you a chance just to catch your breath, to relax, to cool the body, any areas that you had to work, have a chance to just quieten here. Prasarita Padottanasana is also a wonderful releasing pose. It's an amazing practice for if you're starting on your inversion journey. We're not doing inversions in this session. So Prasarita Padottanasana, the feet are also wide apart. So fingertips to the chest, and you're going to step or jump the feet apart. From here, you can keep your hands on your hips. There's a few variations of this pose. We're just going to take hands to the floor. So inhale, open the chest, exhale, strong legs onto your fingertips. If you have the flexibility to reach the floor, great. If you don't, take some height, a little bench or some blocks. Don't be tempted to take your legs wider to reach the floor because you'll lose the structure and the stability of this pose. And you're also not going to get any development in your flexibility. You're trying to stand on the heels and you keep the hips aligned over the ankles. And you want to bring the sacrum into the body, maintaining that extension in the front body. You can start walking your hands back in line with your feet. And if you have the flexibility to do so, you just tuck in your chin, release the head, let the spine lengthen down. As you firm up the legs and keep the legs strong, imagine somebody's holding you on the sides of your rib cage and just opening the ribs and pulling you down. So the legs, the thighs, the knees are all drawing up and holding you firm, and the body is descending down. From the sacral region, you have to dive down. If you're not very flexible and you're somewhere like a question mark, then rather come up and be in the halfway position. Once you're up, bring your hands underneath your shoulders. You can already start to heel toe in. If it's easier for you to stand with these wide legs, it's sometimes difficult. Then come to standing in Tadasana, where you bring your feet together and just take a moment here to have a few breaths. In Prasarita Padottanasana, if you do not have the flexibility and you're like this all rounded, then rather take breaks and you want to work on extending the front body and having a nice straight spine, not this crooked spine. Similar to what we just did in Prasarita Padottanasana, but in a seated position is Upavishta Konasana. So we're sitting on your mat. Again, if you need height, to lift the sacrum. So when you sit down in any pose, be it with your legs crossed or legs straight, your sacrum shouldn't slump to the floor, your abdomen shouldn't scrunch. You want to get that lift. To help with that lift, a blanket helps. If you don't need the blanket, from Dandasana, legs straight, you're taking the legs apart for Upavishta Konasana. In Upavishta Konasana, take the legs as wide as is comfortable for you. Yes, wide is you're supposed to have them wide, but don't go and injure yourself. And Prasarita Padottanasana is where you go into your forward bend. Upavishta Konasana we also do. But here you want to again be cautious of not scrunching the front body. So if you can keep that extension, you're going to start walking forward towards either the front of your mat with your hands, or in the classic position, you're gripping your big toe. This is a bit of a challenge for some people doing this pose. It's often referred to as the pancake pose because you do go flat like a pancake. For a lot of people, you don't have this as a beginner. So be just patient with yourself and work cautiously. When you've practiced your Upavishta, at any point, if you need to put your hands down and work a little bit into the flexibility and settling into it, absolutely do that. And another option is to put, so if you can come up, Jess, and we can show. So if you're really unable to go into the forward bend and hanging there becomes a little bit uncomfortable, you can either take a whole bunch of stacked blankets, some cushions, or a bolster. And then with that abdomen supported, you're able to kind of just be here for a little bit. Let the pose evolve a little bit. See if you're able to just get a little bit more depth into this pose. And again, if you hold it, the more you hold it, the more things start to develop. Listen to your body. Don't force it. This is one of those poses where you can easily injure yourself if you push yourself. I know. And come up. To bring the legs together, you want to use your hands to support the knees, especially if you've held this pose for a long time. Use the hands to support the knees to bring the legs together. We're coming into our last seated pose called Janu Shirshasana. If you, again, need blanket height, you take it. If you cannot reach your foot in a forward bend and you need a strap, you'll have one handy. We're going to bend up the right leg. So this is a similar shape to what you had standing, where the foot is alongside the inner thigh for Vrikshasana when you were standing. Here, this is the beginner variation where we put the foot along the inner thigh. The knee stays down like in Baddha Konasana. And your body is naturally wanting to turn towards the bent knee. So as you exhale, use your hands, turn towards the left leg. You can even extend your left hand towards the foot first when you come to Janu Shirshasana. Now, with the body facing the left leg, with this right knee pinned back and in position, extend both hands towards the foot. Again, like I said, if you needed a strap, if you were unable to hold the full pose, you would use a strap around the foot. If you've comfortably and confidently got your foot, exhale. Again, find that extension of the spine and the side body. Let your head settle down. You're not taking your head to your knee. You're trying to move the head to the shin. And as you keep these elbows lifted, you want to make sure that the top shoulder is soft. So it's as if somebody's pulling you here by the elbows and just you lengthening forward. In the classic pose, this knee is wider and more out to the side. When you've been in Janu Shirshasana for a few breaths, tighten up that left knee, come up, extend the spine. So just to show in the classic position, this heel would be in its own groin so that the knee is at a wider angle. After Janu Shirshasana, release into Dandasana. And from Dandasana, we're going to prepare to the left side. So legs are straight, left leg bends out to the side. Again, we'll just do the beginner version. You want to turn your body to that right leg. Keep the right leg strong. Make sure you don't lose your left foot under the right thigh. And then pressing the right thigh down, turn towards that right leg and extend towards the right. Once you're there, you can bring that right hand around. As you exhale, empty out the left side of the ab body, settle down the left side of the back. The left kidney, the left shoulder blade have to descend more. And on an inhalation, think about moving this right side of the abdomen out to the side. So relaxing the shoulders, you can keep the elbows up and wide and just soften yourself down there. Be there for a few breaths. When you've been there for roughly the same length of time as the other side, you're going to come up, extend the leg in Dandasana. Right, we're going to do a Shavasana with the legs, could you hit this up? With the legs on the chair. The legs on the chair is really nice because it just softens the groins and the hip region where we've been working. If you do not have a chair, just pop your feet up onto the couch or lie straight with a bolster under the knees. Here, if the feet fall to the back, so be it. Ideally, you would want the legs supported, but these chairs are not one size fits all. And you can let the knees flop out. Even if they fall off the chair, it's fine. You want the elevation of the legs so that the weight of the thighs falls into the pelvis, quietens this hip area. You relax the shoulders as well, especially that top shoulder blade flesh down the back. And then if you need a blanket for underneath the head, sometimes it is nice to have some softness. You know you need a blanket for underneath your head. Drop your head when your head is lifted like this. So if your chin is up and you cannot get the back of the neck long and you're unable to get the softness, then absolutely take a little bit of a blanket underneath your head. And you want to make sure that it's not underneath the shoulders, but it provides that slope from the forehead down to the chin. This isn't a classic Shavasana. It's a Shavasana that we use to quieten the abdomen a bit more, to release the back and the glutes. It's a Shavasana that's very quietening for the hips. If you have back issues, this is a really good way of doing Shavasana. It's relieving, also a nice way to release after back bends. And then for the last few moments, we'll come to a normal Shavasana. Bring your feet to the front of the chair. You'll roll out of it and then move the chair aside. And we're positioning ourselves to come to lying down in classic straight up Shavasana. Once you've straightened the legs, feel what the back waist is doing. Don't lose that flesh of the buttock release. Still soften the abdomen with each exhalation. Relax the shoulders, the neck region. And you're just taking a few quiet moments here of Shavasana, being with your breath, feeling your body, the sensations in your body after your practice. Nice short practice, so only a little short Shavasana today. Start to allow the breath to become deeper. Each inhalation, you want to imagine that it's bringing that vital pranic energy to every cell of your body. When you feel a little bit more awake, bring your hands onto your abdomen. Just feel your breath beneath your hands. On the next breath in, stretch your arms over your head, giving your body a lovely long deep stretch. Now bending the knees, slowly roll onto your right side. You can cradle your head in your right arm, bringing your knees into that fetal position. In Shavasana, for these last few breaths, let the left side of the body just hold you in this quiet state that you can hopefully tap into throughout your day. When you're ready to come up, you bring the head up last. So use that left hand, press into the floor, roll to come up. Find your way back to a seated position. Once you're seated, spine is erect. Close your eyes again, bring the hands into the prayer position. And here, the last few moments, checking in with your body, having a moment to give thanks for the health and strength of your body. And if you're ready, let the eyes gently flutter open and focus. Namaste. Thank you, Jess. Thank you for joining us. See you next practice.